This is the prologue to the fourth Gospel, Gospel of John, John chapter 1, verses 1 to 18, read in Greek with an English translation and a few comments. My name is J. Richard Middleton, and I teach Biblical Worldview and Exegesis at Northeastern Seminary in Rochester, New York. En arche en hologos, kai hologos en proston theon, kai theos en hologos. So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, face to face with God, and God was the Word. God here being not ton theon or the God, referring to the Father, but the quality of deity. So the Word was of divine quality, the same status as the Father. Hutos en arche proston theon. That one, literally, but in English you say he was in the beginning with God, that is God the Father. Panta diautou egeneto, all things through him came into being. Kai choris auto egeneto ude hen, and without him came into being not one thing, hogegonen. Now, some Greek manuscripts put hogegonen with what comes after, but any punctuation you have is going to be an interpretation later, and most translations think that hogegonen, that which comes into being, goes at this point and not with the next verse. En auto zoe en, kai he zoe en ta phoston anthropon. In him was life, zoe, and the life was the light of humanity, all human beings. Kai ta phos en te scotia faine, and the light in the darkness shines. Kai he scotia auto ukatelaben, and the darkness has not overcome it. And here we have the neuter for it at this point. Later it's going to become the masculine for him, but right now it's kind of you're left in the dark, so to say, about what this light is. But the light is not overcome by the darkness. Egeneto anthropos apistalmenos paratheu. There came a man sent from God, onoma auto Ioannis. The name of him, his name was John. Hutos elfen eis marturian, he came as a witness or someone to testify about. Hina marturese peritu photos, in order that he might testify, in order to testify concerning the light. Hina, in order that, pantes pisteusin diautou, in order that all might believe through him. Uk ein ekenos taphos, that one was not the light, or this one was not the light, he was not the light. Alhina marturese peritu photos, but in order to, that is, he came in order to, testify concerning the light. Ein taphos to alethinon, and ein is the verb to be, so it's redundant in English, but it starts with, there was the true light, haphotidze panta anthropon, which enlightens all humanity, all people, komenon eston kosmon, coming into the world. So if you would put there was at the beginning, you wouldn't put was in the last clause, but many translations just say the true light which enlightens all people was coming into the world, and that works fine. Ento cosmo ein, he was in the world, kai ha cosmos diautou egeneto, and the world through him came into being, kai ha cosmos auton uk egno, but the world did not know him. Eis ta idia elfen, he came to his own, kai hoi idioi auton u parelabon, but his own did not receive him. And here we have a difference between ta idia, the neuter plural of his own, and hoi idioi, the masculine plural, and most translations take it to mean he came to his own world, if you will, or his own nation even, and those who were his own people did not receive him. Hosoi de elaban auton, and the but is de, which comes second in the sentence, typical Greek style, but as many as received him, edoken autos exousian technotheu genestai, he gave to them the authority, or the right, children of God, to become. Tois pisteuosin eis to onoma autou, those who believed in his name. Hoi uk ex hematon, who not from blood, the verb to be born is actually going to come at the end of the sentence, who not from blood, ude ek thelematos sarkos, neither from the will of the flesh, Ude ek thelematos andros, nor from the will of man. That's andros, specifically male, not anthropos, a generic term. Al ek theu, but from God. Egenethesan, that's the word, to be born. So not born in these other ways, but to be born from God. And having just said that you are not born from sarx, flesh, the next verse goes on to say, kai halagos sarx, ageneto, and the word became flesh. So there's nothing wrong with flesh. Flesh is just not the origin of the new birth, but the word becomes enfleshed. Kai eskenosen en hemen, and eskenosen is the verb for dwell that in the Septuagint translates the verb shakan in Hebrew, from which you get tabernacle, mishkan. So many people say this is the equivalent of God coming to dwell in the tabernacle, or later the temple in Israel. God comes to dwell in the flesh of Jesus. He is the living temple or tabernacle of God with humanity. Kai ethiasamithatein doxan auto, we have seen his glory. Doxan hos monogenous parapatros, glory as of the unique one. And monogenous sometimes gets translated as the only begotten Son, but it can actually go with the word son, and it means something like unique one. Only begotten is a good medieval or early patristic interpretation of this. The unique one with the Father, pleres caritas kai aletheas, full of grace and truth. Ioannes marture peri autou, John testified about him. Now notice that the testimony of John is repeated at two different places in the prologue of John. First of all, John testifies about the light. Later, John testifies about the incarnate Christ. They're two different things. The light is the light of God's revelation to Israel. And John is the last of the prophets of the old dispensation, testifying about that. But now, when he meets Jesus, his cousin, he testifies about him specifically. And he kekragen legon, and he cried out, saying, Hutos en han epon, this was he of whom I said, Ha opiso mu komenos, the one coming after me, emprosten mu gegonen, is before me, in the sense of in front of me. He has priority in some sense. Hoti protos mu en, because he was before me, another way of saying the same thing. Literally, he was first of me. So the idea is that he has priority because he came earlier than me, because the word was in the beginning with God. Hoti ectu pleromatos autu, hemes pantes elabamen. Because for from his fullness we have all received. Kai karin anti caritas. And that kai could be translated something like even. So it's an exegetical, exegetical, I think is the way you say it. Grace upon grace, almost replacing grace instead of grace, because one grace is outdone by the next grace. He keeps giving us more and more grace. Hoti, because, so now we're getting an interpretation of what it means, grace upon grace. Interpretation is, Hoti hanamos dia mauseus edothe, for the law, or the Torah, through Moses was given. That's the first grace. He charis kahe aletheia, dia Iesu Christu egeneto, grace and truth through Jesus Christ came, through Jesus the Messiah came. That's the second grace. Now, the Gospel of John has this interesting phenomenon that it can be read, especially through later generations when the church became Gentile, as an anti-Jewish gospel, because it often contrasts Jesus and the disciples with the Jews who oppose him. Of course, Jesus is Jewish. The disciples are Jewish. So the Jews may not mean the entire Jewish nation. It may mean, as some people think, the Jewish leaders. It may mean Judeans. It may even mean those associated with Jerusalem specifically. And yet, what John's prologue is saying is that the Word, which became incarnate in Jesus, has been revealed to Israel in the past. And there is so much Second Temple Judaism that gives meaning to the prologue of John that Daniel Boyarin, the Jewish scholar, has said there's nothing in the prologue of John that a first century Jew wouldn't have been able to say. He says maybe even the incarnation of the Logos, you could also say that, because it's parallel to the incarnation of God's Shekinah glory in the temple and the tabernacle and in the Torah. And notice that, contrary to some translations, it doesn't say that the Torah was given through Moses but grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. It says just grace and truth came. That's the next level of grace, beyond even what came before. Paradoxically, if you know your Old Testament, charis and aletheia, grace and truth, translates chesed and emet, loving kindness and truth, or steadfast love and truth, which is actually revealed in Exodus 34 to Moses after the Torah was given, when Israel sins at the golden calf and God is going to reject them, and Moses intercedes for them and God forgives them because God is a God overflowing with grace and truth. So that's the first grace and truth. The Torah is wrapped in grace and truth, but grace and truth in its fullest sense, this text says, come through Jesus, the Messiah. Fe'an udes heoraken propote. No one has ever seen God, and maybe this is not necessarily the Father, but deity, referring to him, since there's no definite article, but maybe not. But again, this is one of those amazing statements. Well, so many people in the Hebrew Bible saw God. Moses saw God as he passed by in the cleft of the rock when God revealed grace and truth to him. The Israelite elders went up with Moses up the mountain in Sinai, and they saw God, we were told, seated upon a throne. Isaiah chapter 6, I saw the Lord high and lifted up. Many people see God, and they often say, and I didn't die. I thought I was going to die. So what can John mean no one has ever seen God? And again, if their seeing of God was some level of grace, we have a new level of seeing God face to face in a manner that you never saw God before. Because monogenes theos, the unique one, comma, himself God. I think monogenes and theos are in apposition here. It's not qualifying God like the unique God, the unique one who is himself God, who is himself deity or divine nature, because he is of the same nature as the Father. Haon eston kolpon to patros, who is in the bosom of the Father, who is very close to the Father, near to the Father's heart, say many translations. Ekenas exegesato, that one has revealed him. In fact, as many people know, that exegesato is the same word from which you get exegesis. When you exegete a text, you uncover the meaning of the text, you reveal it, you clarify it. This one, who is the Word incarnate, who is of the same status of deity as the Father, has revealed him in a way that no one else has ever revealed him before. So that's just a little introduction to the Prologue of John, or the fourth Gospel, because we don't know that the author's name really was John. That's a tradition, not stated anywhere in the Gospel. An amazing text that draws on so much from the Old Testament, starting with, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In the Septuagint, it starts enarche, just as John 1 does, and draws on all these notions of the Word and the Spirit and the wisdom of God, which both in texts like Proverbs and in many Psalms, but also in Sirach and the wisdom of Solomon in Jewish tradition, have come down into the world and been God's revelation of himself to the world, as God's presence has embedded in this world and in the temple and tabernacle and the Torah. And finally, it's been revealed in a unique way in a human being who is the temple of God among us. All right, the Prologue of John.